Hi everyone, thanks for joining us and welcome to Screaming on the Inside, a UKAT podcast. I'm Lucia, your host for today and a member of the alumni team here at UKAT. Our guest today is Dan Beswick, one of our amazing admissions coordinators here at UKAT. Dan shares his journey with us from struggling alone at a young age to being in recovery and helping others find their strength. Thanks for listening.
Hiya guys, thanks for listening today. I'm joined by the lovely Dan Beswick. Dan works as an admissions coordinator here at UKAT. So hiya Dan, thanks for popping on today to have a chat.
Hi, nice to be here. Been looking forward to it.
I know, we've been discussing doing this for quite a while, haven't we?
Yeah. Hi everyone, my name's Dan. I'm an addict. I'm also one of the admissions coordinators at UKAT. So when, people call in to treatment, I'm kind of the first person that families or individuals speak to and kind of direct them to get the best help.
I think you are really good at doing that, Dan, because, you've been through it yourself. You understand. So, you show a lot of care and empathy with people. So for the guys listening, do you want to share like a little bit about the history of your addiction? Like, when did it start?
How long you got? No, I'm joking. I mean, alcohol was my number one drug. I didn't think alcohol was a drug for a long time until I got help. And, when I got clean, I look back at the behaviours over the years and realised that actually I was kind of obsessed with alcohol, even as young as 6 or 7 years old. My family were all drinkers. It was kind of normal back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Family parties and drink. And
going to pubs, the kids, go on the swings and on the slides while they, sit in the pub garden. Yeah.
My dad used to give me £10. Used to be smoke in the pub. He gave me £10. I'd get J2Os and play a game of pool. And for me, that I loved it in there because I can escape even as a kid with no substance in me. But I always knew that I couldn't wait to drink. And I think with regards to kind of the obsession, like my dad used to take us, he didn't know at the time, but take me on like booze cruises to France, and we'd go over in his big van and he'd pack up the van with loads of alcohol, and it was a kind of yearly thing. And then one year I was about 9, I think, and he got me to pick one of my own drinks, like a little shandy bottle. And it was like, I remember it so vividly. I couldn't wait to have that drink. And I must have been 9.
Yeah.
And kind of from there, I mean, it just progressed. I mean, I could go really deep into like behaviours and things, but with regards to just the substance, when I was about 13, I used to follow a football team, my local football team, up and down the country, and I hung around with a lot older people. So they would buy me alcohol, and I felt a part of something where maybe I didn't in school and I didn't in other places. So I've got these adults buying me pints of beer, and I'd have 4 or 5 pints at 13, and be sick everywhere. And I couldn't wait to do it again. I couldn't wait. It was at school, I was just obsessing over the football and going to have a drink again on the Saturday. And that happened for a very, very long time. And even getting a reputation at the local football club for, being a bit of a drunk as a teenager.
Well, yeah, because you're so young, and it said as well, like, that you might not have had that confidence, that place where you felt, part of something, and you had that there. It does give you that boost of confidence, but we all know, now, it's not real confidence, is it? But at the time, you think you get a bit leery, you get carried away, especially in that football environment. It's already a bit boisterous and, it's already a bit like that.
And the consequences came quite quick. I would be like put in taxis to be sent home. I'd fall asleep on public transport. And this is all in my teenage years and 20s as well. At the time, I thought I was having a great time. And I really wasn't. I didn't even know who I was until I got sober. And I'm still learning today.
Yeah. Going from that, so that was the age of 13, right? When it came from that group setting, then how did it then transfer into your personal life? How was that?
So it was just constant, I was a blackout drunk. So if I'm being honest, I don't remember much of my 20s. So from 13 to kind of like 20, I still managed to stay in school. I got suspended a few times and I was a bit naughty, but it wasn't in the sense of like I was a naughty person. I just couldn't close my mouth at times, and my mouth would get me in a lot of trouble because I maybe wasn't getting attention in other places. So at school, people, knew me as someone who drank, who was loud, but really that was never me. It was just this character that I wanted to, because I was so desperate for people to like me.
I think you kind of also, when you have that at school, you kind of live up, don't you, to that persona that everyone's kind of attached to you. It's like, I've got to keep this up now kind of thing. So it's like sometimes you don't even, like you said, it's not even you, but because everyone is seeing you as that, and everyone's hey, and you're like, oh yeah, it's kind of.
It was funny. I actually went back to the football club to watch one of the games about 3 months ago, and I saw a lot of people I used to drink with, and they all come up and like, you're all right, like I heard about you like being in recovery, and I'm looking around going, thank God I don't do this anymore. That everyone's hammered, everyone's out of control, slurring, and I'm sitting there and they all think, I'm the one that's still got the problem. And I'm really grateful to have found like recovery when I did, because I don't think I'd be here. I wouldn't be here today. It nearly took my life on a couple of occasions, either physically or mentally, and when you get into that really, really, really dark hole that you think, what I describe it as, it's the point where you don't want to live, but you don't want to die. You just don't know how to live. And it progressed very quickly with me. At university, I went to university at 19 or something, and I was the first person in my family to ever go. So I felt a lot of pressure. And within a month or 6 weeks, I was in hospital, having my, not stomach pumped, but there was something similar. I don't really remember, but I just remember my family coming down, and I was, alcohol took me to like mental health crisis centres. It took me to I was never a violent drunk, so never really like in trouble with police and stuff, but I'd sleep in public places. I would just, that obsession to drink when I woke up was so strong, it overpowered everything, and I went from wanting to be a journalist at university to cleaning toilets for 7 years. And there's nothing wrong with cleaning jobs, but, it wasn't my ambition to do that. But alcohol took me there because it was the only thing I could do. I could be self-employed, get enough money to then go and use it on alcohol.
Yeah.
And when I was growing up, that's not what I wanted to do. So,
how was that for you at uni? Did your drinking, you said as well, like you fell in public places. Were you with like a group of people, or would you just go out on your own? Or
so at uni, it was like, Freshers' Week, everyone's partying, clubbing. That wasn't me. I was so anxious, so scared, so fearful. I would just go and sit in a corner of like a pub and drink by myself. And then when I saw someone the next day, I'd act like a different person. Oh, no, I didn't go out last night, but really I was just on my own, kind of drinking. And because I was just so, when I got into recovery, I realised that alcoholism's fear-based. I was so scared of everything, looking at someone in the eye, talking to other people, and alcohol gave me a bit of confidence at one point with girls and kind of getting up and having a sing-song if you're out with people and a dance. But ultimately it took me to a corner of a pub with my head in my pint, kind of gambling on my phone and just trying to escape. Everything was about escaping. I didn't want to be me. I didn't know who I was. So yeah,
it was very lost.
Very lost, yeah.
Very disconnected.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm grateful it's not like that today.
Oh, bless you. Were your family aware, that you were struggling as much as you were? Were your friends aware?
Yeah. My family tried to get me help a long time ago. But until I wanted to get help, they weren't going to help me.
Yeah.
In the sense of kind of rehab or something. I remember kind of going to an AA meeting at 21 and just being like, I think my exact words were, "Nah, these lot are weirdos. I'm not going into. I'm not doing this." I was a young boy, and I remember this older gentleman tapped me on the shoulder and said, "We'll see you in a few years." And I always remember that really vividly. But my friends also, my best friend today, he had to separate himself from me for a few years because we'd go out The first hour or two would be fine. But then what I would do is I would find people who drank like me and go off with them, random people, end up in random people's kitchens till 4 or 5 in the morning, not knowing where I am.
You're really lucky to be.
Yeah. And that was a twice a week occurrence, ending up in places I didn't know. And then the addiction would, when I get back, I'd blame it on everyone else. That was the thing. It was my ex-partner's fault. It was my family's fault. It was this and that. And I really believed it as well. It was never my fault. But again, that's what recovery is taught. Recovery teaches me to look at me and my part in things. And yeah, it's transformed my life.
Bless you. I think as well, like coming from, my ex was, struggled a lot, and coming from that side of things, I think it's really hard for friends and family to see someone slowly killing themselves, and knowing that there's nothing you can do. So you kind of just have to detach in that way, because it just destroys you. And that even if you were, like you said, they couldn't take you to rehab or anything like that, because they knew that you weren't ready for it. They knew that you were kind of in that place, and until you were ready for it, probably would have worked anyway. Going from that stage of that isolation, that, it sounds like a really lonely, dark place and a scary place that you were at, Dan. Was it just alcohol that you struggled with at that point? Did you ever start using anything else? Or
I dabbled in kind of cocaine for a bit, but I think for me that wasn't ever really I never really brought it or called dealers. I'm part of CA as well, and but for me I could just change the dealer to the off license or whatever it was. But alcohol was always the driving force through everything. I mean, cocaine made me just drink a bit more, but ultimately it was alcohol. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you finish uni?
No, I went to, when I left uni, I was getting like severe mental health help and mental health crisis centres. I'm sitting in this cabin with a guy in Stevenage who's looking after me, and and as soon as I left that mental health centre, I'm going to drink.
Yeah.
Insanity, and I didn't realise it at the time. So no, I never finished my studies, but I trust in the process today. And if that's something I'm going to do, it might come to me at a later date. And that's the beauty of it. It doesn't all have to be done now. I'm kind of really happy with where I'm at.
Definitely, and education's always there, uni's always there. That's the wonderful thing about it. You're never too old, it's never too late to pick it up again if you want to. But what was it that made you stop uni? Was it the struggling with that alcohol and the combination of your mental health and everything? It was just too much. You couldn't cope.
Couldn't cope with anything. Just all of it. I just being away for the first time. I was just a lonely, depressed young lad who was scared. And now I know majority of that is alcoholism. Which I didn't know. I'm like, why am I feeling this? And the people that are in my dorm not.
Yeah.
And none of them really got me or understood me, and it was a really dark place.
And also, how could they have a few drinks and still, be okay after a few drinks, and that's it for them? They can stop there. Why am I struggling to stop? Why am I continuing? Yeah. So going from uni, did you go then straight back home, like to live with your family? What happened after uni for you?
Sounds really sad when I say it, but I don't really remember too much. But my family do. So they tell me, what I was like, because I was just a mess of a human being. And, from that period of kind of 2021 to when I went into rehab at kind of like 28, like I said, it is very, very blotchy. I would drink and black out, so I would have 6, 7, 8 hours of blackout drunk. I'd wake up the next morning, not know what had happened, but speak to someone I was with, and they'd be like, yeah, you were fine. How scary is that you...
Yeah, you don't know.
No recollection of anything. I'm like...
Did what you said.
Yeah, nothing. But then you'd get the odd day, where everyone's like, you're a disgrace, or, and I'm like, what did I do? I had no idea what I'd done, where I'd been.
I really do think it is like a possession. I really do. And especially, that blackout state where it can do things that you would not do ever if you were, healthy and sober. Yeah, I mean, I just can only describe it as a possession, like Jekyll and Hyde. It really is just like completely different person to who you actually are.
100%. And when I meet people today and I tell them what it was like, they cannot believe that this is me, and that's nice as well, because, the people I'm friends, a lot of the people I've met and hopefully will never see me have a drink a day at a time, but I know that one drink will send me back to there very quickly.
How was it for you? Because that is such a young age as well, Dan, like that age, the 20s, like 20s, we're very cocky, aren't we? I think we reach that 20 stage, like, that's it, I know what I'm doing, I know who I am, yeah, I've got this, but then when you go past that, you're like, okay, no, you don't. The older you get, it's true, the less you know, you're just kind of trying to go through the motions and work it out as you go along. But what was that like for you at that age with that issue that you had, mental health, addiction? That's extremely hard at that age because you're still very young. You're still very, vulnerable and getting to know who you are, getting to know the world.
But I think that's why rehab was so important for me, because I felt for many years, especially the last 2 years when I really tried to stop drinking, which were the worst 2 years because I literally don't remember from kind of 26 to 28. No real recollection. And what rehab provided me was the foundation of what I suffer with, because I didn't know. I had no idea what I suffered with. And when I went into rehab, I was suddenly around people that got me. And I was like, I get goosebumps just saying it. Like literally I can feel goosebumps because it was that first moment in my life where I was like, oh my God, I'm not on my own.
Yeah.
I'm not on my own. There's other people that feel the same way as me. There's other people that have experienced what I've experienced. And that for me was incredible because I thought, okay, I have a chance, and yeah.
Was it yourself that said, okay, could you please help me get into rehab? Were you the one that asked for that or did someone suggest it to you?
Half and half. So
yeah,
the story was, it was actually 7 years ago today, I was in rehab and I was on a bender again, 4, 5, 6 days, whatever it was. And I hadn't seen my two best friends for a couple of years. And I didn't know that my family and one of my friends had been in touch and had been planning to help me. And my friend Jack and Matt, they came in the pub at 2:00 in the afternoon on a Tuesday, and I was asleep on a table, and people were trying to kind of wake me up. And
again, you're so lucky, like being in that position. Anything could have happened to you
multiple times, and a lot of things did happen in the past. Like that's why I had to do a lot of work through that stuff. But that just shows the powerlessness, doesn't it? And I didn't know in the background, my sister-in-law and family found a rehab for me, and they basically got me back home and said, do you want help? We're all going to help you. And I just broke down into tears and was like, help me. And within, I think 24 hours, I was in a rehab centre. That was the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. Like that first day walking in those gates, just thinking, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially for someone because a lot of people, they might have a group of friends that they sit and drink with or, but then you have pretty much always been isolated, disconnected from everybody and drunk on your own and spent that time on your own. That must have been, terrifying.
Yeah, it was. It really was. But like I said, just being there and realising that there's a way out and I'm not on my own was just amazing.
A relief.
Yeah. And, I went to treatment for 28 days and I left, and I'd like to say I have remained sober ever since. And it was, because relapses do happen in people's recovery. They're part of some people's, not everyone's. People don't have the relapse. There are many people that haven't. But I think when I left treatment, I really tried hard with AA and I never went through the steps fully. I thought maybe I can do this my way still.
Yeah.
And I think I was about 6 months sober. But for the last couple of those months, I dropped my meetings. I dropped speaking with my sponsor. I dropped all the things that I learned in rehab, and suddenly I'm drinking again. And within kind of 4 to 6 weeks, I've broken again. Absolutely broken again. And I couldn't believe how quick it took.
I was just going to say, yeah, it must have been, a shock to realise, oh my gosh, this just can come out of nowhere and just snatch you. And that's it, you're back there again very quickly.
I had 4 pints of beer down the pub. I remember what day it was actually. It was Tottenham versus Liverpool Champions League final. And I was like, I'm going down the pub, I'm going to watch the game. I had 4 pints of beer and I came home and I said, told you, I'm all right.
Yeah, I've got this.
Yeah.
I can drink like everyone else.
I can drink like a gentleman. It was just my anxiety. And what I didn't know is the next time I drank, it was 5, then it was 6, then it was 2 days, and then bang. And without me even knowing, in a blink of an eye, on back to where I was. But I had the facts from rehab.
Yeah.
That this will happen. So I knew what to do to get back on my feet. And it was just one day, I think it was 25th of August, 2019. I was just on a park bench in my local area, and I just broke down. And I just said, because I knew AA with a higher power, I just said, my name's Dan. Dear God, my name's Dan, and I'm an alcoholic. And I really believed it. And for me, that was the moment where something inside me snapped, because I fully let go.
Fully let go, fully surrendered.
And I was like, help me, really help me. And because of what they taught me in rehab, everything they said happened, and I was like, right. But without that foundation, I wouldn't have.
That's what I was going to say. Rehab, even if you do come out and have a lapse or a relapse, rehab gives you that foundation, that realization, those tools, that connection to the meetings, to other people groups and support that you might not have had before that, and so you can it does give you an opportunity to get back on track and realize to yourself, okay, maybe I can't just have the one, because it will never just be the one.
No, and luckily I don't have any thoughts or I talk about it all day in my job. Yeah, I haven't had a thought about it in a very long time, because I do what I'm told still. I've had periods where I've not. I think everyone most probably will. It's a dangerous game, but it hasn't led me to a drink, but it's led me to isolating again. It's led me to thinking I know best. It's led me to sitting in my room, not wanting to pick the phone up.
Your mental health, and confidence, gradually getting lower and lower.
Yeah, but luckily I've got some good people that I've met in recovery, and the great thing about recovery is when it gets bad, it can really quickly get good again. But I'm the one who has to put the action, because if I don't, nothing's going to change. So it's good.
Bless you. I think that's even though it was obviously a low moment for you, but that's such a powerful awakening, enlightenment, if you like, to be able to sit by yourself and just completely let go and surrender. It's so powerful. You said that previously you didn't go through the steps. Did that then change from that moment? Did you say, okay, right, I need to do the steps properly with my sponsor, and I really, really need to do this?
Straight away. My first sponsor is an amazing man who I still speak to weekly. I used to turn up. He goes, come to my house 7:00 every Friday, every Monday. And I'll turn up with my book 10 minutes before. And he'd let me in. He welcomed me to his family. So I'm very good friends now with his wife as well, and his two kids. And, he welcomed me into his house and just took me through the work. And I was just a anxious, scared boy still at the beginning of that journey. But yeah, I was committed. I think I did. The recommendation is 90 meetings in 90 days. I'd like to say I did 90. I think I had a spreadsheet and everything. I think I did 85 or 86.
Yeah.
And like that. And I did the work with my sponsor. And I'd like to say once I did the steps, life got amazing, but it was still hard because I didn't have a clue who I was. What was amazing about the steps was it took the obsession away from alcohol and drugs. And from that, from doing the steps, I haven't had an obsession to drink or do drugs. Like, that is the most amazing thing ever. But life still happened, So I had to get some outside help for some therapy. I was diagnosed with kind of PTSD, but they could give me a correct diagnosis because I was sober.
And they get the help that you needed,
Yeah, exactly. And
was there any steps that you found hard in particularly? Because I know a lot of people struggle around step 4.
They do. And it's something I'll never understand, because for me, it was amazing being able to be honest.
Yeah.
Just fully honest and get everything down on paper and have a sponsor who trusts me. I told him everything. And he didn't judge me. He didn't, because he goes, I've done most of those as well, and it was, for me, it was really
healing.
Yeah, it's a great word. Yeah. Healing and just, step 5 was amazing. Just saying it. There was tears, there was laughter, there was like all these emotions just
relief
blowing out. Yeah. And then 6 and 7, like defects of character. I didn't, you know, I was so selfish, so self-centered, so me, you know, and I didn't even realise it. I can laugh about it today because it was just insanity. Step 9's obviously very difficult, you know, making those amends to your loved ones. And I look back, the fear got me, but they weren't that difficult because my family were always going to forgive me. They'd need to be happy. And my friends and everything. I had a couple of difficult ones, but for me, I just did it. I did what I was told, and it's working.
Yeah. Amazing, Dan. You know, it's just...
I'm lost for words what to say, especially because, you know, I've known you quite a while now, and, you know, we've had chats before, especially at the weekend, you know, when we've been here. Me and Dan like to have a little moan, and we you know, we have a good chat as well. We get quite deep sometimes, you know, with our conversations, so you should really be proud of how far you've come. Really just amazing and so inspirational. Are you now a sponsor? Did you start sponsoring?
I have sponsored. I don't have any sponsees at the moment. I think in my first couple of years in recovery, I was still very new.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't confident of sponsoring someone. I had a lot of work to do on myself and in the meetings, and my understanding of it is, you know, I'm there to help when someone needs it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what got me into working in rehabs and things like that, because I want to help people get out of that darkness, because if you haven't been there, you don't know how dark it is. And for me, working in the rehab centres and being a group facilitator and kind of like a key worker and things like that was amazing, because, you know, I met some incredible people.
How long did you do that for?
So I started to do it when I was just under 2 years sober, and I would definitely recommend anyone doing it, please wait until, you know, that time, because maybe if I look back, maybe it was a bit too soon. It was quite intense. You know, I was only 2 years sober myself. If I look back, maybe I would have waited another year. But I did that for 2 years at one place, and then I went and lived in Thailand for a year, which was just insane. I'm actually going back there in 2 weeks to see some friends I made out there and play golf, and like, it's just...
Were you going to visit the centre that you worked at?
Yeah, I'm going to go and do an AA share there and see the staff and the Thai staff, who were so lovely to me. But that just shows in recovery, I basically couldn't leave my house for nearly 2 years to being able to live in another country on my own.
You know, you've made friends and you know, that community, you know, the other side of the world.
Yeah.
You know?
One of the guys I'm going to visit in Chiang Mai, he's 2 years sober, and I was his key worker at rehab in Thailand, and he's opened up a pizza restaurant up there, and he's invited me up there. So nice. It's just amazing, you know, what recovery can do for you.
And that ripple effect as well, you know, it's so powerful. It just keeps going, doesn't it? You know, what you put out, and then people carry that on. You know, I think that's the amazing thing about the recovery as well, is that it's a legacy, isn't it? That
100%.
People leave, and that connection that people then have forever, really.
And I'm a massive believer of the opposite of addiction is connection.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, with Thailand, it gave me a lot of time on my own to learn more about myself, and I'd sometimes think, why did I come back? But I needed to come back, because I had my time there and came back, and I found I applied here to work with UKAT, which has been great to me, and I love my job. I love being the first person family speak to and stuff, because, you know, I see it from my family's point of view, but I also see it from my point of view. I've seen both sides, and you know, I think
that's the difference, isn't it? We get a lot, mainly, isn't it, family members calling up on behalf of someone.
Yeah, and you've got kind of mums of boys in their 20s, and I remember, you know, just causing mum, dad, family just havoc, and I didn't even realise I was doing it most of the time. That's the disease right there, and I don't think any human being plans to go out and do those things, you know.
It's what you do, you know, just the effect of being in so much pain and just so lost. It's like you're not directing it at someone, you know, you don't want to intentionally hurt someone. It's just that you're, I guess, screaming out, you know, you just like what's going on inside is just too much, too painful.
100%. But it's not like that today. I can look after my niece and nephew, you know. It's great being an uncle, you know. It gives me the opportunity to maybe be a dad one day, you know, where hopefully my future partner or kids will never have to see me have a drink a day at a time, and I know I won't if I keep doing this, what I'm told. I've seen lots of people, multiple years stop doing the program and go out there and try it again, and I really don't want to do that, because recovery's given me everything. It's given my family everything, because they've got me back. I can be a good friend, a good brother, a good uncle, and I don't want to chuck that away. But I know I'm never someone to say I'll never have a drink again. I'm someone that say I won't drink today.
Yeah.
And that for me keeps me grounded.
Keeps you present as well.
Exactly.
Because when you're in the midst of the addiction, you're not present at all. You're just, it's that fight and flight, isn't it, mode just all the time. You don't feel settled in your own skin. Feel on edge, that obsession and chasing something, and trying to hide and trying to find something that you think will fix what's going on.
Addiction's like a full-time job. Like, I'm running a marathon at the same time. It's consuming, all-consuming.
Really
your time, your finances, your well-being, your spirit, your everything.
It was like that with my ex. Even if he wasn't drinking or he wasn't taking drugs, he was very much struggled with cross addiction. So he'd get obsessed with, got to get a new telly, and he'd sit there like all night looking at reviews, searching for this one. I got to get a bike. Then it was like buying every little accessory and outfits and this, and making sure that it's the right tyre type, the right bike. He would just be obsessed with everything, and everywhere we'd go it would be rush, driving in a rush, like potentially speeding, just to get from one place to the other. And then when we get to the other place, he'd go to the other place, and it was just not just him that was exhausted, it was me as well. It's just absolute, like, just so tiring, because you can never just find that peace, where you can just at the end of the day when we get home and, after you get in your bed and you're like, there was never that.
No.
Never that.
No, it's that high anxiety levels constantly, isn't it?
Living on edge.
Yeah, and it's lovely to not have that today. Even some of my friends are like, why are you so chilled out all the time? I'm like, am I?
But even when you're not, like, obviously everybody has,
moments.
Days, we all have moments, but the thing with you, Dan, is you are so aware of yourself. You're so aware where if you are feeling slightly anxious, which everybody, we can feel anxious at times, it's not all kind of, that's it, happy, it's life, but you're so good at managing through that, and you're so aware of it. I think as well, like, the way that you communicate that and you talk to other people, whereas before you probably would have just completely shut down and shut off.
Yeah, 100%.
Just shows how far you've come.
Yes, life's good today. I have no complaints.
It's coming up to Christmas. This will be coming out probably around the Christmas period. Do you find Christmas hard? Do you struggle around that time? Potential triggers and potential, moments?
Not anymore, but at the beginning, of course, I did. Christmas for me was just like every other week, but it would be an excuse because everyone else is doing it as well. I had to be very, very careful over my first 2 to 3 Christmases. I had, we talk, and I'm sure if people have been into treatment, they'll learn about exit plans, and I found that very, very good in around Christmas time.
Yeah.
Knowing, if I have to go, I didn't go into a pub or a restaurant and accept a birthday party for one of my family members for the first year of my recovery. I didn't need to. I maybe ate too many Domino's and Chinese takeaways, but I didn't go into a pub because I didn't need to. And I had to cancel a golf holiday with a couple of friends. I had to cancel other trips and things like that because I was so focused on staying sober.
Yeah.
And I got promised that if I do that, then all of that stuff will come in the future. I just have to believe it. But at the time, it's very difficult to accept it.
Yeah.
So Christmas, at the beginning, obviously everyone's drinking, and what I learned is, it's my problem, not my family's, not my friends, not people next to me. If they want to drink, they can drink. Or I know that I can't. So my exit plan normally was I drive, if any people drive, So therefore I've got that ability to go, I'm leaving now.
Yeah.
Whenever I want.
Got that freedom.
Yes, exactly. Instead of waiting for a taxi around Christmas time.
Or public transport or whatnot.
Yeah. And then it would be tell my sponsor that I'm going to this event. Will you please keep your phone on just in case I need to speak to you? That worked really well for me. And just being aware of what I'm feeling at the time, because it can be overwhelming. But you'll wake up the next morning feeling happy that you haven't had a drink, and everyone else that you're out with is going to be dying of a hangover. So who's the real winner? That's what I say. And like New Year's, I mean, for me, New Year's normally consisted of me falling asleep somewhere random way before midnight. So now I'm in bed by 10 with some decent food and watching Jules Holland. So times have definitely changed. So New Year's isn't really a trigger for me anymore. But I think having an exit plan for everyone, if they have to go to somewhere or they can't escape a plan that's already been made, then an exit plan's key.
So think ahead, think of, potential triggers, have a time frame that you want to stick to as well. So thinking ahead, planning ahead, getting in touch with your sponsor, maybe go to a meeting prior to that event, after the event as well, that might help you.
There's loads of meetings Christmas Day. Christmas Day, there's meetings all day long. They don't stop. So I would always go to a meeting Christmas Day. I've worked the last 4, so I haven't. But just get to a meeting, set you up for that day, and remind you that life's good when it's sober.
Do you think that having, not just for that event but for the whole day, have a routine, have a structure to your day, so that because a lot of people, if they don't have that, they tend to then start getting in their head a little bit too much overthinking. And do you think that having something in place for that day, for that time, is really important for people?
I think so, and I think with people that kind of struggle with the God word in like AA and the 12 steps, I used good orderly direction for a long time as like the acronym of God. And for me it was routine, structure my day.
Yeah. And
that's why for me in recovery the mornings are so important, because I still have my morning routine today. I mean, last week I woke up late for work. I just fell asleep through my alarm, so I didn't have time to do my morning stuff. And I was an anxious kind of wreck all day. So for me, the morning time is so important. Set my day up, plan my day ahead, and let it flow. So 100%. Plan the day in the morning.
The morning does set you up for the rest of the day, doesn't it? That time in the morning can alter your mood. I know that you like very healthy. You go to the gym as well. You do your golf and you do your meetings. So you don't just do recovery in the sense of meetings. You also do recovery as in the sense of health, well-being, self-care, self-love, stuff like that as well.
100%. And I think that took a little while. My first goal in recovery was to just stay sober. That was my number one goal. And then when life started to get a bit better, and that's when I joined the gym. I was about 16 stone when I joined the gym.
Wow, I can't. Yeah.
And I've got to be careful for it to not become an obsession though. So I like a balance. Balance is key in recovery. I still do 2 to 3 meetings a week, and I try and play golf once a week. And but if it doesn't happen one week, it doesn't happen. I don't
obsess.
So I missed the gym today. I missed my meeting today. I don't miss my meetings. That's why home group is so important. But I just start again the next day. What can I do today?
Finding that happy medium between it all.
100%.
Just feeling like okay with that, at peace with it.
I love pizza.
Yeah.
Once a week, I'm like, and you look forward to it, and you're like, I can enjoy that and not overindulge. Yeah, I know, life's never simple, but since doing the program and things, it just has made it more simple. Manageable is the word. My life in addiction was anything but manageable. Chaos, just from 13 to 28. And what's amazing is I think it's like 6.5 years now nearly. And
amazing.
It feels like 20 years because I've been present. Yeah. I've been present in life for those 6.5 years, where before I was never present. And that's why it just went as a click of a finger. And I was like, wow, I'm nearly 30. Where did that go?
Yeah.
Really grateful.
Amazing, Dan. And I just think, even knowing you for the years I've known you, how long has it been now? I think over a year.
Yeah, year and a half nearly, yeah.
Yeah, that you've worked here. You've really grown in that time as well that I've seen you. You're just inspirational, really. And the way that you are, the way that you relate to clients and to the family members as well, you really do care about what you do. And people can tell that over the phone. We can tell that here as well. Huge congrats and a huge well done, from everything that you've accomplished, and wishing you all the best. Is there anything that you would like to, any last message or anything that you think you'd like to say to the guys listening?
If you've been into a treatment centre, and you're struggling, the best advice I've ever got was to reach out to someone. You don't have to fight this or your brain on your own. And 9 times out of 10, a simple phone call to someone that understands. My friends call me and say they're struggling. I'll drop stuff and go and see them and have a coffee with them, because that helps me, to get out of self. Yeah, if anyone's struggling, just reach out to someone. If someone hasn't heard of AA or CA or things like that before, they're everywhere. I didn't realise how many there were.
And online as well.
Yeah, online meetings are amazing. I'll be doing some in Thailand when I'm out there, and you just don't have to do this on your own.
Amazing, Dan. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for being so honest, so real, and so courageous and open with us. We really do appreciate it. And thank you everybody who has listened today. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll speak to you guys soon.
You've been listening to Screaming on the Inside, a UKAT podcast. Thanks again for joining us. And a huge thank you to Dan for sharing his incredible and heartfelt story with us today, and for having the courage and strength to be so open and honest. As always, you can find further support, meeting links and information below and on the UKAT website. Go to www.ukat.co.uk. Take care.